Welcome to a tutorial on setting up an online draft for your ticket group. We'll start from the dashboard. This is the page that you arrive at whenever you log in, and you can click on the dashboard icon in the upper left corner to get here. You have your ticket groups, and we've created Bleacher Buddies, and we're going to create an online draft for that ticket group. We'll click on Bleacher Buddies, and you can see that we have added a ticket location. So here is the bleachers location. We have 2 seats. And we've also added tickets. So we've added game tickets for this ticket location. There are 162 tickets in the system. To set up a draft, click on the Draft tab. We don't have any drafts currently, so we'll go ahead and begin. The first thing we need to do is enter some basic information about our draft. Now for this demo, there are 4 partners who share season tickets, and they're all equal partners, so it should be pretty straightforward. But the draft can be set up to accommodate your needs, depending on how complicated your ownership structure may be. Let's start with how many picks will there be in the draft. For this draft, there will be 40 total picks. Now a pick is somebody's turn during the draft where they pick 1 or more tickets. How many rounds? There'll be 10 rounds in this draft. And how many picks per round? There'll be 4. So each partner gets 1 pick per round, and there are 10 rounds, which makes 40 total picks. If your group has unequal ownership percentages, partners who get more tickets could have more picks per round. So for example, if I had 3 partners where one partner gets half the games, and the other 2 partners get just a quarter, well, we could still set this up the same way. So there would be 40 picks total, 10 rounds, 4 picks per round, but then the one partner who gets half of the games would have 2 picks per round. And we'll see how that can be set up in the draft order shortly. The last setting is tickets per pick. Typically, people will set this at the same number of tickets that they get per game. So in this case, we have 2 tickets per game. So we'll select 2 here. This can be changed if your group has more complicated drafting needs. Click Save Settings to continue. The next step is to select your draft participants. So in this case, all 4 partners are going to participate in the draft. We'll check the 4 boxes and click Save Settings next. Our changes have been saved and our draft has been created. We're now at the overview page for this draft. Let's review the main settings. My draft settings. Every partner sees this section. These are the individual draft settings that each partner must review and set. My draft ranked. These are how they rank the games in the season. My auto draft settings. So whether the partner wants to select games themselves during the live draft or turn auto draft on to have the system pick for them. My turn emails. When it's a partner's turn, if this setting is enabled, the system will send them an email so that they're notified that it's their turn. If your partner does not want to receive emails from us, they can turn this off. And lastly, draft ready. When a partner is done getting ready for the draft, they can change this to ready so that the group administrator knows which partners have completed their draft setup. Continuing on to draft settings. Now all partners will have access to these draft settings, but only the group administrator can make changes. The draft status. Currently we're at pending because it's just been created. Once the draft time has been set, it'll change to scheduled. Once a draft has been started, it will be active. And when it's done, it will be complete. The ticket location. All tickets are included in this draft. If your ticket group has more than 1 ticket location, you can choose to include all the ticket locations or just 1. Total picks. These are the settings that we entered in the first screen. There are 40 total picks, 10 rounds, 4 picks per round, and 2 tickets per pick. And again, we mentioned that individual picks can vary. People in the draft, there are 4 draft participants. Now we see the settings that we need to correct or complete in order to get ready for the draft. We need to create a draft order. We need to put tickets in the draft. And we need to set a draft start time. All these settings are available in the left column as well. My draft settings, and then also the draft settings on the left. Let's start out with the draft order. On the draft order page, we have a summary table of total picks at the top of the page. By default, we assume ownership percentages are equal, so accordingly, each partner gets 10 picks. Continuing down the page, we see all the picks listed below. Now, any one of these picks can be changed manually by simply changing the pick to a different user. And once I did that, notice that the total picks changes. Also, number of tickets, this was set by the default that we set on the first step, is set to 2. So number of tickets is equal to 2, but it could be more depending on your group's need. So for example, this first pick could only be for 1 ticket, or it could be for more, 4. This gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility in setting up your draft. We'll leave it at 2 tickets. Most people will need to change the default draft order that we set. To make it easy, we have a draft order wizard. Now what this does, it takes a draft order pattern from you and then repeats it for the remaining picks. We entered 4 picks per round, so we're prompted to enter the initial order below. We can say that Kathy picks first, then Joe Smith, then Bill, and then lastly, Joe User. Next, select the draft order type, a snake draft or a repeating draft. Now a snake draft goes from first to last, last to first. A repeating draft goes first to last and then returns to first again. So we'll do a snake draft. Click on Change Draft Order. We return to the draft order page, and here we can see the order that we created. So Kathy, Joe, Bill, and then Joe User. And then since this is a snake draft, it goes back to Joe User, and then down to Kathy, and then it goes back to Kathy again. We just help you create this draft order. If you need to tweak it further from here, you most certainly can. So there is maximum flexibility in setting up your draft order. After you've spent time reviewing your draft order, click Create Draft Order at the bottom of the page. With our draft order saved, we can go back to the draft overview. Going down to our draft settings, we now see that our draft order has been set with 40 picks. But now we need to add some tickets in the draft. So we'll click on 0 tickets in this draft. So as we can see, there are no tickets here. We need to add tickets in the Ticket Navigator. You can click on the Ticket Navigator link here, or you can always get there under the Manage Tickets tab. Select Ticket Navigator. So all of our tickets are now showing up. If you need to change the date range to increase the number of tickets or decrease the number of tickets, you can do so easily here. You can also filter by status and partner, and also locations below. For this draft and this demo, we're going to include all the tickets in the draft. To do that quickly and easily, we'll go to Change All. We'll say Change All Status Owner, and then we'll select Draft. We'll change status, and that changes the status for all the tickets currently shown in the Ticket Navigator. Save your changes. And then return to the draft. You can do that by going to the Draft tab. And here we are at our Draft Overview page. If we scroll down, we'll now see the tickets in the draft. There are 162 tickets in the draft. So this setting is okay too. The last setting is the draft start time. In order to hold an online draft, you must set a draft start time so you and your partners know when your draft will begin. However, starting the actual draft requires that the group administrator selects Start Draft button, and we'll see that in a moment. So you can start your draft early, on time, or later than your draft start time, but you still need to enter a draft start time. We'll select a day in March and a time and click Set Draft Start Time. Great. With that done, we'll click on Draft Overview to return to the overview page. Notice with our draft time set, the left-hand column Live Draft button or tab is now green. In addition, we have a button here to enter live draft. We'll review our draft settings and we can see that they're all green and we're ready to go. Click on Enter Live Draft to enter the draft room. So here we are at the draft room. This will be the subject of another tutorial, but please do notice the draft start time shows up here. In addition, we have a Start Draft Now button. The group administrator, again, can choose to start the draft early, on time, or later. It's up to you. Thanks for watching.